Welcome to a tutorial of Profland YouTube channel. In this particular video, we're going to discuss about motion in the universe. In motion of the universe, there are some key terms that you need to understand before you go and sit for this exam. One of the terms that you need to understand is the universe. What do we mean by universe? You can see that the universe is a large collection of billions of galaxies. Is collection of billions of galaxies. And another term that also we need to look at its definition is a galaxy is a collection of billions of stars. Now, once you've understood that, you may be asked to check if you understand the term solar system. And remember now, a solar system comprises of a star and planet. A star and planets. Now, because we have said that a galaxy comprises of a billion of stars, our galaxy, the galaxy that we are in, we can say our galaxy is called what? Our galaxy is called the Milky Way. Yeah, Milky Way. That one you need to understand. Now, after understanding those terms, you may be expected to maybe talk about orbits. And the orbits, remember, the orbit is a path through which a celestial body follows as it's moving around. So we'll talk about orbits of planets, and we need to agree that the orbit of a planets actually orbit. Planets orbit around a star. Planets, they orbit around a star, but satellites such as the moon orbit around a planet. Yeah, that's very, very key for you to remember. And the comets, they orbit stars. A comet orbit a star. So that's why you may be asked the question to give differences between the orbit of a moon, that's a satellite, the orbit of a star, and the orbit of a comet, and the orbit of a planet. Now, now these are different orbits that we have mentioned here. So you have body A, body B, and body C. So we are given that the sun is at that central point. So you may be asked to state which body is this A, what's the name of body B, what's the name of body C. And there are some reasons you are going to use, or there is some reasoning you are going to use in order to answer this particular question. So you can say identify the names of A, B, and C. We are going to identify the name of these bodies that are mentioned at that particular point. Number one, we have said the planets orbit around a star. So this one will only be a planet because the orbit is elliptical. The orbit of a planet is elliptical, but the orbit of a comet is very elliptical and elongated. It's kind of stretched. It's kind of stretched a little bit, and the sun is towards one end of that orbit. But for the orbit of a planet, the star is almost somehow at the center, but the orbit of the planet is kind of elliptical. So we can say A is a planet. A is a planet. Yes. B, because this body B is orbiting around a planet, it must be a satellite. We can say this is the moon. Moon. Satellite. So satellites, they orbit around planets. That's what we said here. And C is actually a comet. We are saying it's a comet because its orbit is elongated, is elliptical. So the force that is keeping this object in their circular path is the gravitational force, is the force of gravity. We are told to draw an arrow to show the way the force is acting is that you are going to draw an arrow directed to the center like that. So this object A is being pulled towards the center as it's moving around. Also for the object C is being attracted, so the force is acting towards the center of the orbit. So another question that you may be asked at this given point, if you are asked to give the differences between the orbit of a comet and the orbit of a planet. One of the reasons you will say, orbit of a comet is elongated, very elliptical, but the orbit of a comet is elliptical, right? So that is quite important for you to remember. Orbit of a comet is very elliptical or elongated. While that of a planet is just elliptical. Yeah. So between comet and planet. So those are the differences. But similarities, both orbits the sun. The two orbits are around the sun. You can see the orbit of a comet and the orbit of a planet. Both of them, they are orbiting a sun. So what about orbit of a planet and a moon? If you are asked a question to do with that, what are we going to say? Planets orbits around a sun, while a moon orbits around a planet. So that's one of the difference that you're gonna give. And number two is that orbits of the moon, orbit of the moon is what? Is what? What do you notice here? It's actually circular. circular, while that of, oh, cannot be able to see that, huh? Okay, okay, let me just mention it. That of a planet is, we can say, is what? That of a planet is elliptical. Is elliptical. Yeah, that the orbit of a planet is elliptical, while the orbit of the moon is actually circular. Yeah. Okay. Mean orbit of planet is elliptical, orbit of the moon is circular. So similarly, if you are asked about the orbit, comparing the shape of the orbit of a comet and the orbit of the moon, you will say a comet's orbit around the sun, but the moon's orbit around the orbit around planets. And something I need also to mention, the differences between the differences between comets and the planets. This is a planet. Planets orbits is that the speed of this comet varies as it's going around its orbit. So at this point here, you may be told to identify where is this comet moving at a very high speed. Where is it moving very fast? Where is it moving very fast? So the comet is moving very fast at point X, because at this point it's going to experience a very strong gravitational pull, so it's going to move very fast through that particular point. And at this point Y is moving how? Is moving slowly. At this point is moving very fast, very fast. So meaning the motion of the comet around its orbit varies in speed. So kinetic energy of the comet at this point is very low because it's moving at a low speed. But kinetic energy at this point is going to be very, very high. So those are some of the things that you need really to remember as you are preparing for your upcoming. Another thing I need to mention, you may be asked in your exam is a question to do with orbital speed. How fast is this object moving around its orbit? So we're going to say orbital speed. Orbital speed. Let me just see if I can write here. Orbital speed is going to be 2 pi r over t, whereby t is the time period. T is the time which duration this object is taking to go around its orbit once. So r is the radius. Is the radius of the orbit. So need also to know how to work out these particular questions, so that whenever a question comes from motion of the universe, you'll be able to answer a question like that. And if you have learned something new from Proflan YouTube channel, we are going to do more on the topics that you really expect to answer in your exam. So you have reason as to why you should subscribe. Take a moment, like this video, comment down below if there is any video you are really expecting, so that anytime I'm going to check through, I'll be able to reply to you and then work on it. So make sure you remember all these concepts. Understand the definition, the universe, galaxy, the solar system. Understand the characteristics of all these orbits of planets, orbit of satellites, and orbit of comets. Understand if you are given orbits, you are able to identify which one is a comet, which one is a planet, which one is a satellite, by looking at the nature and the characteristics of the orbits. Next, also, you need to understand the formula used to work out orbital speed, whereby we have said that orbital speed is equals to 2 pi r where r is the radius of that particular orbit that maybe you will be looking at. And lastly, know the differences and similarities of all these orbits. Know the similarities of the orbit of comet and a planet. They are similar in the sense that both of them, they are orbiting a sun, a star. The difference is that similarity, we have said both of them, they orbit the sun or the star, right? That's another difference I mentioned, is that the speed of a comet around its orbit, it varies with depending on the position where it is, but the planet has a constant speed around its orbit. Number 3, understand now the differences. Yeah, I've mentioned the differences. The difference of the orbit of a comet and the difference of the orbit of the and to that of the planet is that the orbit of a comet is elongated, stretched, and very elliptical, but that of this elliptical. Now the moon has a perfect circular orbit and it orbits around the sun. So basically, those are the areas that I expected to take you through, so that you can be able to understand much that you discussed in your class. Have you subscribed? Right? So just subscribe now, right? And share this video to your friends so that they can also benefit.